I debated whether to do a video about this or not, but I am just going to go ahead and put it out there because it's something I have actually thought about for a very long time. This issue with the Second Amendment gun rights, it always gets rolled out when something like this happens. It happened Sandy Hook and the guy in Colorado and all the way back to Dylan Klebold. And they talk about this issue with guns, and it always ends up, getting knocked down by the gun lobby. Now, I am kind of in betwixt on this because in the military, you don't go ambling around base armed. You don't carry your, M16 or whatever weapon you've been issued, to the PX. You don't carry it. It stays in the armory. Now, I'm not saying I'm against gun rights. I'm just saying that that's how things were done. And I believe it's how they're still done. And the arguments, about the Second Amendment could take up hours and hours of video, but the one thing that we do know is that every time this issue comes out, nothing happens. Well, I think they're going to take a little bit different angle on it this time. And they've been preparing for it for a while. Ever since the issue with Sandy Hook, they have been preparing this new strategy. And what it has to do with is insurance. See, what I think they're going to do this time is, because this guy was wealthy, this guy had a lot of money and a lot of weapons, I think what they're going to do is they're not going to go after the guns themselves anymore. What they're going to start to do is they're going to go after the gun owner. See, they tried this and they succeeded masterfully at this back in the late 60s and 70s with financial responsibility laws with cars. In fact, I think it was the 70s still when Tennessee was the last state in the Union to finally pass mandatory minimum financial responsibility laws to plate cars. They're going to do this now with guns, and they have been using, and it's not going to come from the left, they have been using these right-wing types, I'll find it here, there we go, to hawk this concealed carry insurance. Now, I know that's different than liability insurance. It's a type of liability insurance. But what they're doing is they're getting the NRA types, they're getting the folks that are very pro-gun good with the idea of having insurance on their weapon. Now here, this type of insurance insures the person if they would happen to use their concealed carry weapon in self-defense. It gives them lawyers, and it's basically like a prepaid legal service. Or if they would get sued. But this is how it starts. And that's how they started with the cars a long time ago. They just had to get their foot in the door. The idea of the insurance for the gun. Because now we know you don't insure the gun anymore, you insure the person. Just like the car, you didn't insure the car anymore, you insure the person. The type of car has a direct bearing on the rate you pay, but the thing that actually gets insured is the person. The financial responsibility laws is the actions of the person driving the car, not the car itself. And there's, of course, all sorts of different levels when you then have, loans and all that, and that's just another idea. But they have, over the last 5 years, they have slipped this in. And they've made it look like, are you a good, decent, tax-paying American who pays insurance for everything else? Well, you should pay insurance for this too. What would happen if you got put in jail? What would happen if somebody sued you? It's the fear-based insurance that they sell for anything. Anything you could possibly lose, they can sell you insurance for. And that is what they're going to do. And of course, anytime there is insurance involved, okay, there are going to be risk assessments. And the way they're going to do the risk assessments is where they're really going to get people. Because somebody who lives in the inner city, let's say in San Francisco, who's not likely to even own a gun for any reason, just because of their own political belief, is going to have, rates that would be like, $15 a month, $20 a month. But somebody who lives in, say, southern Georgia, if they were, say, a white man, Christian, who maybe was perhaps a member of the Republican Party. They're going to use whatever delineating factors they want to, because they can do that now with car insurance, any other kind of insurance. And that's how, and they're going to make your rates, if you were in that group, astronomical, prohibitive. They're going to say, okay, well, look, if you want to have a 410 gauge shotgun, and only have 10 rounds of ammunition, number 9 birdshot, and maybe a 22 pistol, okay, we'll sell you a basic policy. But if you want to have anything like any kind of an automatic weapon, anything with a magazine, it's going to be $600 a month, $700 a month, $800 a month just for the insurance. And that's just to keep them in the house. If you want a concealed carry, well, then we're talking thousands of dollars. That's what they're going to do. So they're not going to say you can't buy a gun. They're not going to say you can't buy ammunition. But you're going to have to carry, just like they've already shown you here, and gotten you good with understanding here, proof of insurance cards. So that if you do ever get pulled over or have any issue with the police will be able to say, can I see your proof of insurance, please? And then if you don't have proof of insurance, just like with the car, they'll be able to impound the gun, much like they impound the car. Because remember, it's perfectly fine now, and we've established this over the last few years, that you can take away gun rights from felons. And you can also say that certain types of weapons can't be owned by anybody. You can't have a paid, Second Amendment says the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Arms doesn't mean everything the military has. You can't have a Patriot missile battery in your backyard. You can't have an AT-4. You can't have, anti-tank weapons. There's a limit. So, but that has already been established. The government can set limits as to what kinds of weapons can be had and who can have them based on behavior. Because remember, it's okay to take guns away from felons. So if you don't have insurance, they're going to say, look, he had a right to have a gun. Sure, he has that right, but, we have financial responsibility laws. Because this is what they've done with all of these rights. They've monetized them. The Supreme Court has already ruled that money equals speech when they were doing all of the arguments about campaign finance. They've ruled that. So money, if you take away somebody's money, or you say they can't spend money on a certain thing, in essence, take away their right to speak. Well, this is what they're going to do here. This is exactly what they're going to do, because once you take away the financial incentive or the financial ability of someone to have it, they will, through the back door, take away your right to have it. They'll say, okay, well, he has the right to have it, but he has to earn X amount of dollars to do it. And they're going to, and a lot of people think, well, the gun, the people that sell the guns aren't going to stand for this. They're going to cut them in. What they're going to do is they're going to have these people that sell the guns, the gun owners, the gun shop owners, they're going to give them the ability to write policies when they sell the gun. And if you don't already have a certain policy, or if you don't have a certain level of coverage that you can show proof of having, then they're going to say, well, gosh, we'd like to sell you the gun, but the law says you have to have this kind of insurance first. But, we have this policy. We can sell you right now, and it's, ABC and XYZ extra dollars for it. And you have to, pay X amount of premiums. And that's what they're going to do. And there's going to be no one who's going to argue, because the argument against it is complicated. Because they're not going after the gun. They're going to go after the owner. They're going to go after the person who wants to buy it. And they're not going to make the gun itself more expensive. They're just going to say you're going to have to carry this insurance. And they're going to get the gun owners on their side. They already have the NRA selling this kind of insurance. They do. There's USCCA, there's this one, and this is yet even another one. And I had it up here, and I guess I lost it. But there's one that the NRA actually sells. Oh, this is it here. The NRA launches NRA Carry Guard. So I think this is what they're going to do. I really do. And here's how it's going to get sold. Because just like any other insurance, you have the ability to say, okay, we're going to, take care of the people who suffer loss as the result of guns. We're going to make people who carry guns feel safer. We're going to also create a new stream of revenue that's going to boost the economy. And, people, of course, are going to say, well, this will cut down on criminals having guns. It won't, but it'll be billed that way. And, of course, the big number 5, enhancement of credit. Because everybody knows that when you go and you try to buy insurance, your credit score is a big determining factor in it. So, anyway, my 10 cents worth on this. A little bit longer, 11 minutes, but I know this is not what we normally talk about, but it's something that's been on my mind for a long time, and I thought I would cover it. So, like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much, and we will see you later. Thank you.